Thank you very much for the introduction that I wrote for you. Yes. My talk is going to be in English, but of course I can do it in Armenian as well, but it began that way. Allow me to preface my talk by suggesting that it is not conceivable to even scratch the surface of Armenian education in the diaspora in a single seminar or talk. This should be the beginning of a series with the expectation that what is discussed will eventually find solutions and be implemented. Otherwise, it becomes a sterile academic exercise, and I have no interest in that. As my professor would say, I cannot give you a 4-year liberal arts education in half an hour. I must thank ARPA for doing yeoman work of a think tank, and thank Dr. Agop Panosyan for his patience and perseverance. He does not give up easily. I would not have put up with myself, but he did. Mesrod, Hai Tareru Timatsketsats, Tu Atamantia Abaraj, Armenian and education. Let me begin by stating that I'm a political scientist by training, that I can only speak from my own perspective. Academic papers are supposed to bring new, if not original, insight into a topic. Actually, we simply belabor the obvious, hopefully putting it elegantly at least. I do neither. I hope to raise more questions than suggest solutions. When I was at Idaho State University as a young professor, I was given the honor of introducing Norman Thomas. Anyone remember him? At a convocation. It seems that his basic training was that of an Episcopalian priest. The mantra was, he said, to use the passage of the scripture reading of the day as a springboard. And the further away you sprang from it, the better speaker you were. I shall see how far I can go from my main topic. Education is one topic that everyone has a firm opinion about. Perhaps that's why we are in such a mess. The trouble, dear Brutus, is not in the stars, but in us, who are underlings. I hope this becomes a dialogue, or at least a discussion, about a topic we care about. Really and seriously, that caring part is at the core of the issue, as we are not sure what we do in education. Some 45 years ago, we worked very hard to establish the Armenian schools in Los Angeles, and at that time there were two opposing guidelines. First, that in 25 years we had a firm conviction that there would be an Armenian community in America, and in the Los Angeles area in particular, and that we needed an Armenian school. It was additionally clear to me that what this evolving Armenian-American or American-Armenian animal would be were not very clear for us. The second important point was that one of the local Armenian newspapers editorialized that Armenian schools were important, but that it was being established by the wrong group. Think about it. At that point, we were angry, perturbed, and even made all kinds of derogatory remarks. But the gist of the idea was correct. A school, after all, is a reflection of the community and the society it exists in, or it purports to serve. It is a symbiosis between the institution and society and needs to persist on itself. Is that not the problem with the school system itself? I mean Los Angeles Unified School District, or Glendale School District, or the Montebello school system, or whatever. They seem to be serving a different community from that which they originally served. And the model does not seem to work today. Is this not at the core of the question? We lament the fact that there is no family structure, students come unprepared, there are no books or newspapers in the homes from where they come. Many are poor immigrants. A number come to school to get their free lunch and breakfast. And the list goes on and on and on. Everybody else is at fault, but not the schools. Possibly because they have not adapted to the new realities. It is entirely a different question whether the school should adapt to this new reality or they should lead. For years, the schools were the socializing instrument of society, whatever that meant. Is this not a major part of the problem for the Armenian schools as well? Armenians love education. Every house has a library of at least a few books, no matter if anybody reads those books. Home should have a piano for the daughter to play, right? Աղջիկս, բաներ մչալե, պարչամը, մարդ պիտի կա այսօր. What are the Armenian schools for? What is the purpose of the Armenian school in the diaspora? We need a serious definition and a mission statement. Yes, most, if not all schools have achieved a level of accreditation where they need to include a mission statement. See, it says, accredited by Western Association of Schools and Colleges. It's a badge. Has anybody read the Red Badge of Courage? It's another story. Do we need these mission statements? Is that what we want from our schools? After reading those statements, do we agree with them? Do the people who write these statements read them a month after they write it? Do we update them? Do they have any meaning besides being a requirement to have on the accreditation form? In other words, what is the purpose of the school? Do we know? Do we care? Does it matter? Do we send our children to these schools because they are the only ones available? Do we work with schools to improve them? What do we need the schools for? Bayrou Sevak, in one of his poems, writes, Manuk dirtele, manuk taghelen aveli tishvare. The title of my doctoral dissertation was The Integrative and Dysfunctional Factors in the Formation of the Armenian Nation. I wanted to study whether we as a nation or community were like a bowl of fruits held together by a ball, or there was some cohesive force holding us together. As far as Armenian education, it has been perhaps my misguided passion. I walked out of tenured position 3 times to eventually come to Mesrobian and work with and at Armenian schools and education in general. Since then, as my chart indicated, so my answer should be very clear. I am passionate about education, and especially about Armenian education. Both my sons attend Armenian schools, and my granddaughter will start Armenian pre-K in Orange County next week. Our clan has 18 people in education. A cousin teaches at Yale University, and one is a TA in education.